So recently I got a brand new MacBook Pro 16 that is one of the best laptops Apple has put out in recent years. I went from having a custom built gaming desktop to a platform that is notorious for not being able to game at all. But I've been pleasantly surprised with the gaming performance on this computer. More on that after the intro. Alright, so the computer I have here has a Intel Core i9 at 2.3 GHz, an AMD Radeon 5500M, 8GB, 32GB of RAM, and a terabyte SSD. I went for the 5500M over the 5600M because the $700 upgrade for the 5600M, even though it does perform about 40% better, is not worth it for a gamer. For that price, you could get a $300 base Razer core, an RTX 2060, which would perform better than the 5600M for a variety of reasons. Maybe I'll test that setup one day, but I've been really impressed with the gaming performance of 5500M for the type of gamer I am. I'm going to benchmark a ton of games in this video, so if you want to see specific games, make sure to check the timestamp in the description to see when I play it. After that, I'll give my final consensus on what I think about the MacBook Pro 16 in terms of gaming. I should also mention I configured this MacBook to be more optimized for gaming. This includes shutting off half of the cores on the i9, limiting its power draw, disabling turbo boost, and installing some better GPU drivers from bootcampdrivers.com. I originally had the Adrenalin January Red drivers, but then changed to the Adrenalin January Blue drivers after I saw this post from a Reddit user claiming almost 40% performance increase. I didn't see a jump that drastic, but I would say in games that normally would dip below 60 FPS, we're now 10 to 15 above 60 FPS, so that was a nice increase. Okay, now on to the games. Each game is being played on an external 1080p monitor, and all the gameplay is being recorded via an Elgato cam link, which a review is coming out shortly on. So that shouldn't be affecting the game performance at all. Alright, so here we are in Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer, and this is at 1080p, low to medium settings, which isn't that hot for a machine that costs $3,000+. But again, this is a MacBook and still a huge improvement over last generation's MacBook Pro 15. And if you see this, University Wi-Fi doing its best to just make me lag out. I mean, this was totally crazy. But back to the actual graphics, if we kind of look at the texture detail, it's not that high. But just the fact that this laptop can run this game at over 60 FPS, we're averaging 90, 80 FPS, so it's not dipping below 60. Very playable. I was playing on it for a few weeks, and it's pretty great. Now again, not a gaming machine, but if you're a creative who likes using a MacBook Pro and doesn't want to build a cheap gaming PC, you can play Modern Warfare on the MacBook Pro 16. Now that was on a smaller multiplayer map. I wanted to see how the laptop would perform on a huge map with lots of players, so that's why we're going into Warzone. As you know, Warzone has 64 plus players. I actually forget how many, maybe it's 100, but just loading into the game here, we can see the whole map. We're still on those 1080p low to medium settings, and as we're actually trying to render in all these buildings and we're falling from the sky, it's still not dipping below 60 FPS. We're in the 90s, the hundreds, so very impressive. No frame drop there. And as we actually come into a building and everything has to render into higher detail, we can see it's still not dropping frames. We're around 80 FPS, so again, this is very good for a MacBook. Now, at this point, we already know how the MacBook performs in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but I had the craziest game of Warzone. I really was just in here just to get these benchmarks and wanted to leave, so I was doing a bunch of stupid stuff. And I just kept getting kill after kill after kill. So you saw me kill that one dude who tried to no-scope me with a sniper. I hear a dude up here, and I know, we kind of awkwardly kiss, and then he loses in this 1v1, so that's kind of unfortunate. Again, I'm just trying to run around, dying as quick as I can. I've gotten the gameplay I needed, so I'm trying to make noise in a car. I drive it like 2 inches forward just to hop into another vehicle, again making as much noise as possible, trying to die early. But yeah, it's driving around is even good, and boom, there we go. I mean, I just rammed him. I mean, goodbye. And as I see this dude, I try to apply to phase 5 and get a sweet sniper montage clip, and then I miss. I just hit the vehicle. So I have to get in my vehicle before he rams me like I did to the other dude. And then it turns into Mad Max. Here we are, 2 vehicles just slamming into each other. This is literally Mad Max 3 in Verdansk. So I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to do. As I said, I'm just trying to die because I got the gameplay I needed. This guy joins, so now I'm trying to decide if I want to go after the truck still or go after the other guy. Truly Mad Max now. I decide to go to the other guy when all of a sudden I start getting shot at. So, you know, we've got the ticket to death as I wanted. So, you know, I'm up for the altercation. I go around and land a couple. I'm missing all over the place. I'm really just not good at aiming. Missed the sniper shot. Definitely not getting to phase 5 with that, but do crack his armor that way. Then we have a little truce period as we reload, and then he is the ultimate customer of one shot breaks armor, just double shot behind the pole. I don't know. My bullet must have curved, so I go to pick up his loot. Then I see another guy coming in this vehicle. Another phase 5 submission. Boom. Do hit him this time, but I'm in such good position. I'm behind the pole. He hops out, and I kill him. I don't know. This game was just popping off for me as just like a little like benchmark clip. So I'm just running around, yeah, trying to get dumb shots. And game, yeah, never going below 60. Maybe once or twice. See this dude, and as I faff around with my sights going between the ACOG and the red dot, I miss my opportunity to kill him, so I'm just going around looting. And as I go up to the second floor of this building and happen to go into this room, I see something move on the bottom floor, and it's him. And so, yeah, he's the unfortunate customer to a trip to the gulag. Now, as the Elgato unplugs, and as I'm coming back to fix it, I fix it, hit record, come right back into the game to get absolutely clapped by this dude, and he sends me to the gulag. So, so much for that game of Warzone. So now we're in F1 2019, and this is a bit of a lighter title, but we're playing 1080p high settings, trying to make it the most taxing for the computer. Heavy rain at Melbourne Circuit in Australia. I'm not going to talk through this whole race, but you can see how the laptop performs for itself. In the top left, like Call of Duty, I have the frame rate, and here we go.
This is your final lap of the race. Start phase. Now let's build on it.
as the benchmark comes to a close, you can see we never even dipped below 101 frames per second, so this performed very well. High settings, definitely playable if you want to play F1 2019 or 2020. Now CSGO isn't the most impressive of games to run, but still a lot of people play it, so it's important to know if this computer can run it, and it can, just like a lot of computers on the market. This is historically, CSGO prefers Intel CPUs, and the Macbook Pro does have this. Here's a look at the settings: 1080p, high, almost everything, and we're staying around 120-ish frames per second, so not really 1080p 144 hertz material. But if you just hook this up to your monitor, some casual games on the side, you'll be more than good enough with this computer. I was not shocked at this. A lot of computers can run CSGO, no exception with the Macbook Pro 16. To round up our benchmarks, we have GTA 5. Now, even though it is a 7-year-old game, a lot of people still play it, so it's important to know if the Macbook Pro 16 can run it on the side. Now, as you can see, we were getting 160 plus FPS on the first benchmark test, and here we're getting 180-ish FPS, so it's safe to say, yes, you can play GTA 5. The settings, I'm not too sure on this one. GTA's menu was really confusing to me, but quality wise, this doesn't look like low settings. I mean, we saw low settings on Modern Warfare. This does not look like low settings. This is probably medium to high settings. But as I said, if you can just play 60 FPS anything, really impressive for a MacBook Pro. Yes, expensive machine, but that's not the point we're trying to make here. The point is, for people who maybe already have a MacBook Pro 16, they can do some gaming. So GTA, you can definitely do it. Now, I want to say the obvious comment. Obviously, do not buy a MacBook Pro or Mac anything for gaming. Even if you want a Mac to do some gaming on the side, I would recommend picking up a lower spec MacBook or Mac anything and just building a gaming computer for gaming tasks. It would just be more economical that way. You would save a lot of money. These upgrades on the MacBook are pretty inflated with the Apple tax. But for people who find themselves with a MacBook Pro 16 already and they want to do some gaming on the side, as I keep saying, they don't have to go out and build a gaming PC or buy a console. They can play CSGO, they can play Call of Duty, and I'm sure games coming out in the future, they can still play 1080p, medium to high settings, 60 FPS, which is fantastic. Now, unfortunately, I think this fact or this discovery we've made is going to be short-lived, because in 2 years Apple is going to move all of its Macs over to Apple Silicon, so they don't need a AMD GPU anymore. I believe it depends on how Apple wants to run things, but word on the street is Apple's going to put their own GPU in the Mac, which makes sense because they've shown some serious performance. But who knows, maybe those GPUs, even emulating these sort of games, can outperform the AMD GPUs that we have now, and that would be seriously crazy.
You fucking shit!
Alright, so after all those benchmarks, I hope you can see that this laptop is capable of some decent casual gaming. I'm not saying this is a gaming focused laptop, and I'm not recommending you get one for gaming primarily, but if you are a person like me who prefers macOS for day-to-day tasks and want to do some chill gaming on the side, it's nice to know this laptop can do that. Like the video and subscribe if you want me to do this test with a Razer Core as well, which really would make quite a decent gaming setup. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.